When you see the name Ketuo, you expect a certain level of what I can only think of as badassery. And this knife hit a home run. Then this knife came up, took the bat, and cracked me right in the face because I wasn't ready. And neither are you. Stick around. What's up, Kripple Krew? EDC with DBD, disabled but deadly. And that's right, we're going to be covering a couple of killer Ketuos today, so we're going to get into it. Make sure that you've stabbed that like button, /subscribe, and that you've bashed that bell so that you get notified of everything coming up. The first knife that we're looking at, we kind of knew what to expect, or I kind of knew what to expect, because this is the Ketuo Mini Griffin. And I have reviewed the original OG Griffin, the big brother of this, and that's a nice knife. But the OG came in at over 8.5 inches. Like, it is a large knife to carry for EDC. And so the Mini Griffin is much more EDC friendly size at just under 7 inches, 6.96 to be exact. We've got a 4.05 inch handle that is titanium scales with shred carbon fiber inlays, just like the OG. And then we have a 2.91 inch Bowler M390 Harpoon spear point blade with a flat grind and an HRC of 59 to 61. Just like the big brother, we have multiple methods of deployment using either the rear flipper tab, a fantastic front flipper, and a great blade hole that works for either the reverse flick or the thumb flick. This is absolutely a 5-finger fidget friendly knife, as you just saw. And the detent on this one feels even better than the full size. And yes, this detent is rocking a detent ball because we have a button actuated liner lock. So stronger than our standard plunge lock, and using a liner allows you to drop a detent ball in there to give you that really crisp feeling that you know and love. You can also open this with that button that you use to close it. So many methods of deployment. The front flipper on these is one of my favorite. This one still curves back towards you a little bit. The bigger brother, the curve back towards you is much more noticeable, but with the size of this, it is perfect. It grabs you for the thumb or the finger, and yes, it is easily reach around approved. Again, with the way this detent is tuned, with any opening method, my finger blocked it. With any, as soon as I'm saying the detent's perfect. With any, my finger blocked it again. So, light switch. I keep push buttoning this, and we've got a front flipper on here. Light switch. The detent is tuned so perfectly that anytime the blade breaks that detent, it's flying out, as long as your finger's not in the way of the tab coming around. I'm going to give you a couple of size comparisons right quick. So this one being a smaller EDC, let's start off with the TRM Neutron 2. This one rocking the 3D lizard skin titanium scales. And the Neutron is going to be slightly larger than the Mini Griffin, but the grip area is very similar because of the choils. How about another American knife? The Hogue Deca. This one's a Blade HQ exclusive. The Hogue Deca is very similar in size to the Benchmade Bug Out, so it's going to be slightly larger than the Mini Griffin, but not by a lot. And one more good size comparison for this would be the Ketuo Knives Premium Pony Stout. And you can see that it's got a good, the Ketuo Mini Griffin has at least a 1/4 inch on the Premium Pony Stout. All right. So the action was even better than I expected after handling the original. The only thing that I can say that isn't as good as the original is the pocket clip. It is very hard to do a titanium clip this short that is not tight. And this is tight. Because it's rocking on the carbon fiber on either side, it's not difficult to get in and out of the pocket, but it is not as easy as its bigger brother is. Other than that, I actually think the ergos on the Mini are better. So even behind the flipper tab, I have a full 4-finger grip on this knife because it has an over 4-inch handle. I do wear an extra large size glove. The saber grip from back here is comfortable, but that flipper tab is also very comfortable to choke up on and still get some reach while having control of the blade. Or I can use the generous finger joil and throw my thumb up in that harpoon, and I've got great control. The David Lynn design really translated well to an under 7-inch knife. I am highly impressed with it. Of course, you get all the amazing detailing and machining you come to expect from Ketuo. You've got the nice titanium backspacer. All edges are chamfered. You know, you've got the beautiful pockets. It's just great quality at an even more EDC friendly size. So I am a huge fan of the Mini Griffin. I actually prefer it to the bigger brother, and this one is still available. The DLC version is sold out, but there's a few left of this at the Ketuo site for $195. I am not an affiliate, so if you know anybody that is and you want to use their code, go for it. Or their link, I don't know if they have discount codes, but go for it. $195 for a more EDC friendly Griffin. I'm down. All right. I told you that the next knife blew me away, but that still doesn't do it justice. So the first thing I noticed was this knife has that first flick feeling. We've talked about that on a couple of other knives, where you flick it out for the very first time with any method that you choose to deploy it with, and the first time you do it, you're like, oh, I love it. For me, it was the reverse flick. I pulled this out of the box during a live, did that, and froze because it felt so good. Before I even looked at the knife that we're looking at is the Ketuo MechaX, a GTC designed Gustavo T. Cecchini, and I hope I didn't just butcher your name, Gustavo. But I didn't even notice at first because it feels so good how amazing this knife really is. But we will get into all of that after I give you a little bit of stats. With this one, we are looking at a full-size knife, 8.4 inches overall, with a 4.725-inch handle length and a 3.696, so almost 3.7-inch blade. Again, we are looking at Bowler M390, and this one comes in at 4.83 ounces. I forgot to let you know that the Mini Griffin is only 3.45 ounces for all of this titanium and the security of a button-actuated line lock. Okay, back to the MechaX though. So over almost 8.5 inches, and we're looking at 4.83 ounces only for integral design. Or is it? We'll get into that in a minute after I give you a couple of quick size comparisons. move the sticker out of the way. And we're going to start off. We're going to try to keep going with starting off with American knives. And first here is the Spyderco PM2. You all know it, you love it. Maybe you don't. If you hate it, you're just wrong. Nah, I still love you. The PM2 is just a little bit larger. Let's compare it to another integral feeling knife in the Reich Shadow. With the Shadow, the integral comes off the back for cleaning purposes, and it is a little bit bigger. This was the original. The Shadow, actually, I don't know if they came out around the same time, but this is a Reich knife design. This is a GTC design with Ketuo, and the Reich is a little bit longer, but I'll tell you later why I like the Ketuo quite a bit better than the Reich. How about one more American knife? Let's go with the McNeese PM Mac 2 3.5 Gen 2 drop point. Man, that's a lot to say. And as you can see, the MechaX has a little bit of length on that awesome, chunky American-made design. All right, so what makes this so special? Have you noticed yet that you don't see any hardware? No pivot, no body screws, no pocket clip screws? That's right. All of the hardware is hidden on this knife. Not only do you have that beautiful milling, I'm trying to get the micro milling to show well on every surface. Like, you've got beautiful micro millings through here. Then you've got the chunkier milling up and down. You've got the tritium in the back here on both sides that glows so brightly. I won't be able to show it on my cam with my lights on, but this is, if it's not tritium, it's the brightest glow in the dark stuff I've ever seen. We've got a backspacer with a hidden lanyard spot, maybe not quite so hidden, and our integral, the top of our handle is also, it's like an integral backspacer is what I'm trying to say. But then we push that button down, slide this back. You know what? Let's do this with the knife closed. How's that? To show you, first look at those lines. That just looks awesome. And look at how the liner lock design is machined to go with the frame so that when you push the liner out of the way, it goes up into that slot. Okay, I'm going to try to get that back on camera better. See how the liner drops down in there? When you push it out of the way, it fills that slot when it's closed. Just a beautiful design. No hardware anywhere to break it up. Then we pop our backspacer by simply pulling the button back and sliding that off. I want to show you Ketuo MechaX inside. That's very dope. Very dope indeed. And from here, you can start to take apart your knife. You can adjust your pivot without having to go any further. And then from the inside, okay, no, actually, once you take apart the pivot, this is going to slide and it's going to allow you to get to the rest of your hardware. And your pocket clip is screwed from the inside. And I can't even see where that screw is meeting at the moment. It's a beautiful design, the way that they have hidden all the hardware. Oop, Helps if we put this back on the right way. To put it back together, all we do is line it up and it pops right back on. That easy. Because all this does is expose hardware. Whoop. The knife is still in a fully functional position or capability at this point. And that's something that I want to compare. I don't recommend manipulating the knife without it fully together, of course. Only homie BDB does that kind of stuff. I want to compare that to the Reich Shadow real quick. And here's three ways that these differ. One, the Reich hides everything except the pivot. You can see the pivot and you can see the screw for the flipper tab, which you cannot see on the Ketuo. You've got this nice full-size EDC, but the reason you see no pocket clip screws on this one is because there's no pocket clip. I don't get that. But then you take this one apart. And this one comes apart very easily if it's in the unlocked position. And from here, you can clean the knife without taking it all the way apart if you want. But I don't like that everything moves in this position. Much easier, especially, as we lock that back in place, especially if you have no idea that that comes off, or as we use our Mad Yako Hank here to wipe off fingerprints, or if you maybe partake in certain types of habits and forget that that comes off, you could possibly get yourself pretty good with the Reich Shadow. On the Griffin, the MechaX, it really just is exposing the pivot from this point. Your blade, I still can't touch the blade with my fingers. Even though this big dip here looks like that blade would be exposed. Just insane design, and I do think this one is a safer design. And it works so easily. But back to that action. We are on caged ceramic ball bearings. We have a flipper tab that works very well. Push button or light switch. And there's no front flipper to come around and get you. So it's very, very easy. The detent is tuned perfectly for that. Or for those ramped, milled, thumb studs, we'll call them. I don't know what you want to call those. But I'll tell you this, they work. Also, I have to once again mention that this integral piece, or it's not integral, but this backspacer that makes the knife look like an integral, is what I should say, allows for amazing comfortable ergonomics because there's nothing back here to pinch. Whether you're behind that flipper tab where I have a lot of room or choked up on it, it feels great in hand. The thumb studs provide a great purchase for control this way. It's chamfered here if you are gonna, if you want to pinch and use that tip a little easier. And in a Beef Jerky Avenger grip, I am completely capped off and comfortable. And in a Beef Jerky Defender, I've got that pocket clip locked in. In neither position do I feel like I would slip on any beef jerky juice. This is one insane design. You've got the signature GTC modified. I almost want to call it an odd blade shape. Their signature kind of Tanto. Some of them are way more pronounced than this one. This is very mellow for a GTC blade. But you've got the beautiful blade design, the beautiful milling everywhere, and then the ability to hide all of the hardware is just awesome. Ketuos are always crazy, crazy sharp. We're going to look at both of them real quick. Always crazy sharp. And like I said, the Mini Griffin hit a home run, which I expected. I didn't expect to like it better than the Griffin, which I do, but it delivered pretty much exactly on my expectations. This MechaX, I wasn't ready, and I'm not worthy, GTC. This knife is insane, and you can still get one of them available, one of the Tantos, for $385. That, to me, I know that's a lot of money, but for what went into this knife, if you're a collector of this type of knife, you know that's a fair price. Go ahead and get you one if you want. Again, I'm not an affiliate. I just think they're dope knives, but I want to know what you think. I hope everybody has a killer day, night, morning, evening, whatever it is, wherever you are. Stay safe, stay frosty. Most importantly, stay deadly.